NSC Fan TV, Drew, Scott, and we haven't had a loss in a long time, but 1-2 loss to Inter Miami.
Yeah. So
with the late winner for them.
A late winner and a shocker. It stinks to lose, but it's like twice as bad to lose late. It's real bad to lose late.
And I hate to say it, but to a team at the bottom of the table too, very bottom.
This could be the story of their turning their season around. This could be the story of them turning their season around, and I hope that for them. Not really. I hate him. I hate him so much.
I don't think so. I mean, you see the little Beckham kids come out at the end. You're like, oh, they're adorable. They're really cute, Beckham. But no. I mean, no. They're built. The thing about it though is that they're not built wrong. They have the Higuain brothers, right? Yeah. They have
Figal in the back. Figal in the back, and what's his name? Gonzalez Perez. They had good games. Yeah. They had good games. I think that Perez was in the head of all of our forwards. I don't think that any of our forwards had positive play against him.
No, and I think going forward too. I mean, for them, Pizarro, so much creativity going forward. Matuidi in the midfield, I think, was just he was serving balls up and being very physical and imposing.
Yeah,
and I don't know if we knew how to deal with that.
So I think that that's the story. I think that the failure in the midfield. For NSC was the story of the match. We gave up 2 goals, and that's part of the story. But those 2 goals were explained by the fact that our midfield was empty of play.
Even though the way we're playing, right, with the 3 flat across the back and trying to dominate the midfield with the 5, I don't see you. How can you lose the midfield with that kind of composition? That the goal of that composition is to keep them out from the back and then win in the midfield and then make your chances count when people like Sapong and Lova, right, get the ball going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, but the game plan completely was
the game plan completely just deteriorated. First half, they had the run of play. I mean, I think that we had like almost 40% possession in the first half, but it didn't feel that way. It felt like 20. And it was really because of the fact that we just did a lot of dithering in the back. And now, again, if the objective was supposed to just be play for a tie or like try to smash and grab and get a goal, fine. And that in some ways that worked. But the problem was that we just had no, like, even whenever Leal was coming back in the first half and helping out in the midfield, it just felt like we were just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It felt like we were overwhelmed.
It felt like we didn't know what to do. Like when Matuidi would just run up on someone and, okay, now we've lost possession. Yeah. I mean, even the way we were passing too, they had so much of a cleaner game passing wise.
That's right.
I think we had to scramble a lot, and it looked like they were in control of the tempo a lot more often than we were.
Yeah, they played press, so they definitely for the first half played a heavy press with us playing out of the back. And I think that there were a number of times where I think that they were like, look, one of our central defenders had the ball, and they were like, we're gonna pounce.
We're just gonna jump.
We're gonna jump them.
And I think, going back and looking at it though, you had really interesting, not good, but interesting defensive mistakes by people like Miller. Right, where the ball would be at their feet and it'd be time to clear it, but we would be getting pounced on and we wouldn't know what to do, so you scramble. But
really, some really sloppy clearances.
Yeah.
I got one player that normally I am really, really positive about, but think that he had a really lethargic game and made almost no positive contributions. It's Dan Lovitz.
Dan Lovitz.
So I love his hustle. I love that left. I love that left foot of his, but he had no effect on that game. And was kind of got dribbled around in the first half, and so not the positive contribution that I was expecting to see. Yeah, he's back, and
I thought he's back starting and everything, but
really weak game from him.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think we honestly were stretched a bit thin endurance-wise, maybe too, with 3 games in a week and them being away.
And it being so hot there.
The humidity, I mean, it's already here in Nashville now. Yeah. It's already extremely hot, and it's only 90. There it was over 90. The humidity was 92.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I was kind of. I was tired just watching that.
I mean, it looked. you look at the pitch, and it was like murky. It looked like the heat had just set in. The afternoon heat.
But it was hot for the other team.
They're used to it.
Yeah.
No, it's hot for the
It's
other team
just
too.
I think
the hydration break.
The hydration breaks helped. I wonder if there was also a feature of the fact that the sun. I think that our defense had to play in the sun for an extra 10, 20 minutes there. Now, what are we doing? We're just grasping.
Maybe are we grasping for straws?
Did we get outclassed, or was it just the sort of the?
Was it the circumstances?
No, we got outclassed, friend. I mean, because
especially in the midfield, which as you said, that's the key to why we lost was getting beat out in the midfield. When our composition is designed so that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
I mean,
so we flood the midfield. We effectively had 5. I mean, at least televised wise, it was supposed to be a 3-4-3. But Leal in the first half was dropping back.
Exactly.
And then in the second half, whenever we put on the 2 forwards who will not be named.
Okay.
I don't want to speak their names right now.
Speak their names.
So mad at them.
The designated
the 2 designated players. The 2 designated bench riders.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, given how much they shall not be named, how much they costed, right?
Yeah.
And the clubs they came from too.
Yeah.
Like being so prestigious. I mean, it just something's not adding up.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I want to just dump. Like I just want to dump them and just be like, can we just get like a highly competent midfielder?
Yeah.
And just dump them and let you know what? I would watch CJ Sapong play tired for 90.
Over what we saw
from those 2.
I think that's right.
In fact, I'd rather just have Sapong instead of those 2. We'll play with 10. Oh my God.
Well, the thing is, it's just so frustrating to watch a huge chance like that where...
Okay, so let's talk about the chance.
72 came up. 72 came up. And he recovered it and dug it back.
Mukhtar gave him a great ball.
Yeah,
he let it run too long. It was because he was at full speed and he had a defender on him. But he's supposed to be the best player on in the front for us, and he had fresh legs.
Given how much he costed too.
Yeah,
I can't stop.
How are we gonna motivate him? How are we gonna motivate him? Show him his goddamn paycheck.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, and I thought that was awesome ball by Mukhtar. 72.
It's a Super Bowl.
Best. Right, but he did make a good recovery, and I
dug it back out.
Nice.
He dug it back out.
Right, and then to 99, and what do I say about that?
Hey, at least he wasn't offside.
He wasn't offside. Yeah, he stayed onside. Yeah, it just.
Hey, at least he wasn't offsides.
It's hard to score onside. You have to. You have to deal with
defenders. You have to be covered and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think even he knew though. I mean, immediately he just looked down and was like, "Yeah, that was." It's been so long since he scored too.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
I wonder if 99 is snake bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I wonder if he's just kind of got like a little bit of snake bite going and just like, look, I can trap a ball and I can pass it to my friends and things like that, and I can maybe stay onside. But I don't know how to kick it in a goal anymore.
It's been too long. I've been out of my element for too long. I can't do it. I mean, it wasn't right.
I got a lot of frustration, man.
One more thing. Going back though, so right, we've dealt with that. In the midfield, we had Dax McCarty, the captain, on fresh legs. Because he didn't play in the game prior, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought that
didn't play in the
game. Yeah. And I thought that was see. Here's the thing.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. You made the point,
brilliant.
and I thought it was too. I agreed. I said, okay, don't start in this game. We have a less, all things being equal, less of a chance of winning against New England, more of a chance of winning against Miami. So it makes sense to
collect
grab the three against them, especially since 3 games away in a row. Toronto, New England, right. And
we come out of a 3-game road run, and we come out with 4 points. That's positive.
That would be positive. Yeah.
And so McCarty got rested against New England, and we came out with a point. Awesome. And
this was the chance to win, especially against, I can't help but say it, but a bottom of the table team that thought they'd come into the season and just coast, right? With Tweedy, Higuain brothers, Pizarro, really good players, right?
Yeah.
And this was the chance to win 3 points.
This was the chance to win 3 points on the road.
The plan was rest Dax and then have him out, right? To start.
Right. And we had so many other players that had long times off, that had shorter times even for the 2 games. So Mukhtar was off for a good chunk of the previous game. Godoy was finally got to start. So Godoy, I think, I'm Team Godoy. I'm Team Hannibal. but he did not have a good game.
Okay. I didn't want to say it.
I'm Team
but
Hannibal.
I was going to
Hey,
say,
it's okay.
I don't think he had as good as
He did not have a good game.
I didn't want to say it.
And there's a reason why he had to come off. And I mean, it may have still had to do with lingering hamstring issues, but he was not the player. He was not the player that he needed to be. Yeah. And I think that the Anunga substitution for him was the right substitution. The problem is that Anunga, despite the fact that he's a good digger, he's kind of like a Torreira.
He's a bulldog. Yeah, he's gritty. He gets in. He's physical, and he digs the ball out. He scoops it up, and he turns around and tries to make positive play out of bad situations.
That's right.
Right.
And he'll chase stuff down. But not that level. We didn't see that level of dig from him. We didn't see that level from Anunga. And I think that McCarty got. Yeah, he came on at what, 60?
I was gonna say, I think at that point Pizarro got taken off.
Yeah,
didn't he? I want to say, but the problem is, I thought, okay, younger Higuain's coming on. Pizarro's coming off though.
Yeah,
Pizarro
good.
coming off, I thought
Pizarro coming off was like, I was like, oh, excellent.
I was like, we're good. Are they going for the tie?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe they're going for the 1 point.
They don't want to win either.
They're at the bottom of the table. Maybe they're going for that 1 point.
What are they doing?
When he came on, though, I thought, wow, they look a lot better.
Yeah, I think that Higuain coming on as he was kind of playing in a 10 role there. But he played. He had a great game. Gonzalo was inconsistent. He scored the goal. A really great link-up play between him and Matuidi. And in both cases, it was just outside the box, and nobody was on him.
I was thinking,
not a gosh darn soul was on either player. And now the Matuidi case was one that was kind of a bungled clearance that ended up that kind of bounced around and then came to his feet. But the Higuain case was just like, that was just build-up play, and then
we just got trounced,
And unfortunately, the person who it looked like everyone was expecting to hustle back to get him was Mukhtar in the Higuain case, the second goal.
He had been, Mukhtar had been tracking back really deep.
Right.
I mean, and it was
because we were playing just a 2 in the front, so he was playing most offensive defensive midfielder.
Most offensive defensive midfielder. That's a good way to put it. But it's like, you think about it, and you're like, oh wait, hold on.
Why is Hani Mukhtar having to come back and chop that at the top of the key?
If we were playing a 4-4-2, it'd be a little different. But the 3 flat in the back, there really is no excuse for him having to come back like that.
Yeah,
I mean, it was advertised, right, like you said, as a 3-4-3. But really, when Leal was dropping back, it ended up being 5 in the midfield. Though we still lost the midfield. Yeah, we still lost the midfield despite the fact that we had it completely crowded. And so, there was a point in time in that game where, despite the fact that I've been a longtime critic of Smith's 4-4-2 as a dogma, as a relatively uncreative setup, as a good way to be able to collect a lot of ties. And I was looking at this game and I was like, this is like, if this was what we were going to have to face, 4-4-2 was the answer. Yeah, I think that's right.
And
I think it would have been easier for people to drop forward too. I mean, the thing about the 3 flat across the back, they've got to mark their men.
They've got to mark
their men. I mean,
and on top of that, if we've got the 5s and we've got those folks out on the wings, and so so it was Miller and Lovitz who started the game on those sort of effectively the 5 spots on the outside of the wings again. Or the 4 spots on the outside of the wings, whichever one you want to call it, whatever. Yeah. But they're supposed to be on the outside, and they're supposed to run and be contributing, and they did very little of that.
I thought they
especially Lovitz, just expecting to see so much more from him, and saw really. I mean, I don't know. Was it
too hot?
Was it just that he wasn't quite as match fit, and Smith was just going to let him ride? I don't know, but he did not have a game that I need to dial this back, but I mean,
neither did Miller.
Neither did Miller. Miller had 0.
I mean, he ended up having negative impact too, but by his lack of ability to just clear the ball. Yeah. Like, I don't know if usually I think his threat perception's good enough. Like, he sees the problem and deals with it. But then I thought, hey, you need to clear this, or else they're all closing in, right? You need to get this off your feet fast, but. It'd be sloppy clearances that don't go far enough, and then somebody'd be there to collect, and then chances that they didn't need to have that they got. I mean,
And then we had to drop, and then at the very end we had McCarty playing in the central defensive role, and LaGrassa coming in, and and I think that that's an acceptable solution, but it clearly didn't work.
No,
and part of it, and I think that part of this was keeping some freshness in the midfield to try to keep us from just consistently being outclassed. It just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it just is unfortunate, I guess, for it to be Inter Miami too.
It's Inter Miami.
I mean, this almost seems like it'd be the story we'd want to tell, all things being the same, right? Against like New England.
Yeah.
But no, I think that was a draw that felt like a win.
That was a draw that felt like a win.
Against Toronto, it was a draw that felt like a loss. Now this is just an outright loss against a team, right?
A team that, like, it feels like a string of losses now.
Yeah, yeah. Because against the team that we should be collecting 3 points from.
We only got 2 points from
given their prior performance. Yeah.
Yeah, only 2 points from 3 games now. Yeah. And no, again, it was a hard road trip, but this was a team that we could have had a real advantage over. And they were clearly motivated to play a good game with us. I mean, whenever the goal went in against them, they didn't look deflated.
They did not look like they to step it up.
They were like, yeah, we got this.
But Gary Smith tried his hardest, I think, to plan around the fact that we had 3 aways in a week. 3 games, that is not easy. That is hard on everyone.
That's hard on everyone.
I mean, no matter what, especially being that hot. I know it's hard for both teams, but that's very difficult. So I think he did a good job rotating players, having players come on and off of the earlier 2 games in the week. And then this one, having Dak start, this was like the big moment, win the 3 points.
Get the 3 points.
It made sense.
5 points out of 3 games would have been a really positive. That would have been like, you win coaching. Had it come out that way.
Yeah, 2 draws and then the win against
2
the
draws
bottom
and
of
a
the
win.
table team. I mean,
that would have been a very positive road trip.
Yeah.
And you know what? If but for the last 20 minutes of that game, that was the story.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that one went in and I thought, well, perfect.
Yeah.
Because that was actually one of the points they were bringing up in the pre-match interview warm-up sort of deal.
Yeah.
That, all right, what's the first goal going to look like? And I thought it too. I was like, yeah, that's going to matter. That's going to set the pace for the rest of the game, right? But like you say, we got the goal. They did not look deflated.
They didn't go, oh no, here we go again. We're in Miami. We're not good at this. We're not good at soccer, despite the fact that we're paid for it. So, that didn't happen, and it may be the fact that there's a sort of a culture change on that team. I don't know, but
I wonder but I don't know, that Higuain brother link up was just. It was despicable. It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. And I don't know, I guess maybe it's from watching the World Cup, but I thought, Matuidi's just this player who's, he's a good player in a bad situation. But that game, he really stepped up.
He looked great.
I thought, yeah.
Well, so I guess, first off, some good saves, by the way, from Willis. Some good saves. 2 went in, and so, that's a problem. In some ways, I think that it's more a problem with the defense in front of him.
I was gonna say I can't fault him for those.
For either.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that was his fault. Now, we talk a lot about the negatives. What are some positives you saw in the game?
What are some positives? So I thought the Sapong goal was awesome.
Yeah.
You in fact texted me in the game. Do you remember what you texted me?
It was an extremely athletic header. Because he came back for it. He came back. Most players aren't doing that. They're looking to see the ball.
Yeah. And it was come onto it. Yeah.
It was an outswing too.
Yeah.
It wasn't
coming out.
It was coming out.
And I think that their defense wasn't ready for the ball to kind of swing further away from the goal. And I don't think that Sapong's feet were ready for it. It's just that his head.
He snapped back and then got it. Yeah. That was a powerful header.
Yeah.
Very, very strong header. I thought that was excellent. I mean.
So I think that was a positive.
That was huge. Yeah. Sapong, I think is. I like him. I just think he tends to run at the ball a lot early, and it maybe tires him out. But that game, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think that my only criticism. So we were supposed to be talking about positive. Though my one criticism of Sapong's game last night was that he decided that he and Gonzalez Perez were gonna just be in each other's head. And the referees stopped the game twice and just will you two please stop?
Yeah.
It's do I have to separate you kindergartners?
Yeah, you can't sit next to him. he's not a good influence. No, yeah, he was up in his face.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So I don't.
He didn't need to be though.
Why? Yeah. Why are you
Yeah.
doing this? So like it was maybe even from the first like 15 seconds, like the ball had gone out.
And he
Pyrrhus,
ran,
and it was like
he
he's
ran
putting
right
a knee in
there.
Pyrrhus's butt. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that's my only criticism. But I thought that he had a positive influence on the game, and I think that Mukhtar had a really fantastic game. Really
Mukhtar,
bright play. He ran hard for 90. I think that he could have come back to stop the end ball from Higuain. But in some ways, so in fact, Romney, after the goal had gone in, was screaming from his guts at Mukhtar over not having dropped back.
Yeah, not coming.
And I think that he did miss that assignment. So I think that he played 95 minutes of really fantastic soccer. And then it was that lapse in the last minute and so I think a really positive game, and we had to ask him to do something that for the most part he's not been asked to do, which was come track back and stop balls from behind.
Yeah.
So two positives again with some qualifiers on it. What did you see?
I think, honestly, probably making the most out of not much when it comes to chances. I mean, although the 72-99 link-up in the second half, that players that will not be named, wasn't a good example of this, that was our first corner that we scored. That was our first corner. We had not had a corner that whole time before. And then that was corner in by Sapong.
Good.
I mean, the set piece play right there was amazing.
That was good set piece.
I thought, because we hadn't had a corner the whole first half.
Yeah.
Right, and then that happens, goal from it. Good way to start it.
That's a good way to start it.
I mean, I thought that was really good. Good way to set the pace. I mean, making the most out of the set pieces, I think is good because I think we have generally a bit of trouble doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, off of corners at least. So I thought that was good. Mukhtar, as you mentioned, really positive play going forward. Dropping back at the end, I know it's positives, but that was an issue.
I will say. Oh, please go ahead. I was going to say that I think that Anibaba had a good game.
That was my next. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I think that he had a good. I mean, 2 goals went in, but I think that especially whenever he was having he and Mayer had to play against Higuain whenever he had his back to them.
Yeah.
And Higuain did get a couple of these shots off, but they were often able to jump it or able to block it coming off of him. And so I think that they actually had pretty good games against him because I think that Higuain is just he's so talented with when the ball's at his feet and he's able to sort of get one of those sort of quick turn and foot on the ball.
He doesn't need much room to do it either. That's the part that makes it clinical.
Yeah.
That he doesn't need much room to just pirouette, basically.
Yeah, pirouette.
Get it on his right side and then just snap it into the
That's right.
top of the net or something. Yeah, no, it's scary. I think so. Dealing with him, Alibaba, I think, did a good job. One more thing. I know he should not be named, but I think the
We just can't give up on them.
I did like that recovery, though. I liked how he
72.
didn't give up. 72. He did not give up.
Gave up on a lot of other stuff.
He gave up on a lot of other stuff,
but he did not give up on
didn't
that
give up
chance.
there, and I thought that was good.
So that was one positive piece of play from him. From what was otherwise, like 35 minutes of really not good play.
Yeah, he came on around 60, right?
I think that's about right. Very expensive.
Very.
Substitute.
And I'm still not seeing, excellent first touches from him.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem that, like I said, no amount of language, like miscommunication can fix. If you can't settle the ball, you can't settle the ball.
Learning English isn't going to help you to trap the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's not like, he can't be nervous. He can't be nervous, right? Like, I don't.
Be nervous?
He doesn't look like he's nervous. I mean,
I cannot solve that. That is a puzzle that it looks to me like
he can't settle the ball. I don't know if he tries to do it with his feet when he should really just be using his chest. Like the way I noticed it, he tries to settle it on his on the inside of his foot. I wonder if that's the problem. Like I've got to pay more attention to it, but I don't see him try to settle it with his chest ever. I feel like he just needs to maybe use a different body part. It doesn't have to be on your feet. Like, and then too, if you're gonna do that, you need to loosen up. You know what I mean? You can't, if you tense up, the ball's gonna go flying. You can't.
So I wonder if he's nervous.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe he's tensed up because Right, I think he locks his ankle. When he tries to sell the ball, he locks his ankle. And that messes him up. That's like the first thing they told me not to do. Don't do that.
Be soft. Be soft.
Yeah.
Ball's coming to you.
Yeah.
You're effectively kicking it away from yourself when you do it that way.
I think he's kicking it away from himself because his first touches are always heavy. I know it's supposed to be a positive, but
well, yeah. So he had one positive. He had one positive play that created a really good chance for our other designated player that feels kind of wasteful right now.
99.
And so look, I think that Smith's plan is that these two are, or at least 72 is the future of the club. Who knows when Benfica wants 99 back? Though if he continues playing this way,
then they might not want to.
We might be ours forever. Yeah,
the eternal loan spell. But one thing I do have to say before we sign off, though, is that Morgan looked really.
Looked really good.
Morgan looked scary. Yeah,
he's a good player, and I think that he's got
cold,
some. Yeah. I think that he's got some upsides, and he was a Celtic before.
He was at Celtic, I think.
Yeah.
I think
he's a good
right.
player. Yeah. He's a good player, and I have a feeling that probably in about 2 or 3 years we'll be cussing his name too.
Yeah, I have strong chance of that. They have when you look at their lineup, it's not bad. It's actually really good.
Again, I think that their two center backs are just phenomenal. I just thought that they had very good games against us, and completely got in the heads of our forwards. Our forwards had almost no positive play, with the exception of the occasional case when Mukhtar would get loose.
Yeah, letting Mukhtar loose is always dangerous.
That's a danger, but I think that they just shut us down. We did not look good against their defense.
No, and then losing the midfield is just really unfortunate, given the way we line up. I mean, there's almost no excuse for it.
So what? So maybe a closing thought. What do you think is a fix?
Well, Zimmerman. 4-4-2 with Zimmerman.
Go back to the 4-4-2 and Zimmerman in the middle.
Gary Smith is probably thinking 4-4-2.
4-4-2.
I don't know. Maybe 4-4-2 with Zimmerman with Johnston and Lovitz.
Johnston and Lovitz on the outside again.
Yeah, as the wing backs.
Back to Rami.
I mean, Ani Baba in the middle still. Maybe that would mean that we go forward more, because if you only have the two, right, flat across the back,
two in the back, and then the winger,
and
it's
still your
forwards play as wingers. Okay,
you dedicate more players going forward that way.
It's
as
true.
As long as the wing backs play as wing backs,
you just have to make sure that A, they can track back, and B, that your defensive midfielders can help.
And but like you had said,
and if they're not doing it,
but like you had said, something you said would actually go well with fixing the problem. Instead of maybe 99-72, a designated player who's like a central midfielder who can just lock it down.
Yeah, that's a fix for next season, though.
Would mean, that's true. That can't happen now. But it would mean that the 4-4-2 would be even more effective.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I agree.
You'd have it set in the midfield.
Yeah. If we could make a carbon copy of Dax McCarty 10 years younger.
10
years younger, and age him back,
age him back, make him taller, and then you'd have like a
German or something. I don't know.
These are aggressive. Yeah, get in there.
I don't know. Yeah. So I'm right. So we're both in agreement that two of our three designated players are not feeling. They're more like Dookie players.
Dookie players.
I don't know what's the do. What the D? D stands for
dastardly.
The
dastards.
Oh man,
disappointing. The disappointing players. I thought it was disappointing. Well, losing is disappointing. Having your designated players being disappointed players is disappointing.
But a loss at the end is like that was the I was happy. Given how we had been playing, I was like, look, I'll be pleased with the tie.
A point a game.
Gary
Smith loves to rag up the ties. What is it? Exactly. 8 now, I think.
He's got a whole. We need a tie rack for him.
So
and in some ways, like 3 points coming off the road would have been an acceptable result.
Yeah.
Again, would have preferred a win against at least one of those teams. But coming back, and that's a pretty decent pace, and then we get a home game, hopefully a win. But 2 points from 3 games. That's disappointing. That is not good enough.
It means that we've got to step it up in the home game coming up here. I think DC United, right?
Yeah, DC United, and hopefully the designated players earn earn their keep, improve,
We still
learn
have-
how to trap the ball.
Yeah, they will no longer be the players who should not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you good?
I'm not good.
Okay.
It has to
Are
be
we
good.
done?
Are we done? I'm done. I'm done, and I'm not good. Yeah.
All right, did I say Arsenal? Arsenal? NSC Fan TV.
Signing off.